Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to today's episode of Transforming Mobility, the story of India's first RRTS. I am your host, Deepika, and today we are talking about India's most ambitious and transformative infrastructure initiative, the Regional Rapid Transit System. Designed to redefine urban connectivity, reduce travel time, and boost economic integration across regions, RRTS represents a bold step towards the future mobility in India. To help us unpack the vision, challenges, and impact of this landmark project, I am delighted to be joined by a public private partnership expert, Dr. Naresh Bana. Welcome, Dr. Naresh Bana.
Thank you, Deepika ji.
Sir, understanding this project, let me begin at the very basic. For our listeners, could you briefly describe what the RRTS project is and why it is significant?
Sure, Deepika ji. This Namo Bharat, the first rapid rail transit system of India, is a high speed, high frequency regional rail system which is designed to connect urban centers with their surrounding regions. Let me explain how it is different from metro or MRTS. See, the RRTS connects cities at high speed over long distances with fewer stops, while MRTS or the metro serves urban areas with frequent stops, slower and lower speeds, and more number of stops. Also, it is interesting to note that this Namo Bharat RRTS shares the infrastructure with Meerut Metro while in Meerut city between Meerut South to Modipuram. As I mentioned, unlike conventional suburban rail or metro systems, this Namo Bharat RRTS is designed for speeds up to 180 km per hour with operational speed around 160 km per hour, and that has drastically reduced the travel time for this 76-kilometer patch between Saraikale Khan to Modipuram to be covered in just 64 minutes. And the fare is also starting from 30 rupees to maximum 210 rupees for a one-way journey, which is a major achievement and holds promise for entire socio-economic development along the corridor and reduces pressure on roads and residences near to Delhi. The other corridors which are being planned around national capital are Delhi Gurugram Alwar corridor, Delhi Panipat corridor, Delhi Faridabad Ballabgarh Palwal corridor, Ghaziabad Khurja corridor, Delhi Bahadurgarh Rohtak corridor, Ghaziabad Hapur corridor, and Delhi Shahadra Baraut corridor. The development of RRTS is significant because it addresses the growing need for fast, reliable, and sustainable intercity commuting, especially in densely populated regions like the National Capital Region.
That's fascinating, sir. Planning such a system must have been extraordinarily complex. What would you say are the key highlights of the planning process?
Deepika ji, as I have learned and interacted, the planning for this project was both intricate and forward looking. Some of the salient features which stand out are firstly the integrated regional planning. See, it wasn't conceived as a standalone rail line, but as a part of a broader national capital region mobility strategy. Experts have spent many hours of their entire expertise and experience to design this. And along the entire route, it seamlessly connects with Delhi Metro and Meerut Metro systems, buses, and last mile mobility transport modes. Then it follows transit oriented development principles. In transit oriented development, the land availability for commercial use, primarily along the railway line or the corridor is considered as a special uh, zone for development. And there are provisions made for additional development around stations, and that aims to promote high density, high value, mixed use development. Thirdly, the standardization and scalability of the system has been designed as a template for future such corridors across India. It's not only setting benchmark for EPC led government owned project, but also testing the effectiveness of specific and limited private sector participation, which is being planned in this project, like rolling stock provisioning, like operations and maintenance uh, outsourcing, and ramping up of non-fare box revenue. And lastly, the technology adoption has been uh, futuristic, where the state of the art signaling, rolling stock, and safety systems have been incorporated from the outset.
Dr. Bana, now coming to a critical aspect, was this implemented as a PPP project? And if so, how was it procured and financed?
That is very important question. Interestingly, the RRTS is not a conventional PPP project. It's being implemented by National Capital Region Transport Corporation (NCRTC) as a which is a government-owned entity. However, private participation is integrated and embedded in certain components of the project as a whole. Let me give you some examples. The EPC mode, the construction part, has many parts being offered or built on design build approaches, which gives a lot of flexibility to the contractor. And there are milestone based payments, uh, outcome based payments. Then there is a direct participation in place like rolling stock provisioning, which has been awarded to Alstom through a 15-year contract. Operations and maintenance has been awarded to Douche India entity. And then there is a station area development, electric vehicle charging stations, solar power production, non-fare box revenue like advertising. Those are also awarded on bidding base to the private parties, leveraging private capacity and private risk taking. These components of projects can be justified as private participation, but not as a PPP in conventional sense. So, in terms of financing, the project uses a blended financing model, and that is, it has got equity from central government and the state government. There are multilateral loans from institutions like the Asian Development Bank and others. And then they have made use of the subordinate debt and mezzanine equity and other structured financial instruments. This hybrid approach reduces risk while provisions adequate financial capacity.
So that brings us to financial sustainability. What innovative land value capture mechanisms have been used in this project?
Deepika ji, land value capture remains a very important part of any rapid metro or mass transit systems non-farebacks revenue. And in this project, this is the most forward thinking aspect which has been implemented. There are several value capture tools which have been incorporated. NCRTC has prepared influence zones plans for 800-meter all around the nodes in Delhi state, whereas in UP, the TOD zones have 1.5 kilometers around the major stations marked as the development zone, and these have provisions for purchase of higher FAR, that is floor area ratio, and then there are development rights and leasing of commercial Then there are provisions, though yet to be implemented, for a betterment levy, or you call it impact fees, or the station centric commercial hubs, which are being developed as economic nodes and not just transit points. There is also likely to be 1% additional stamp duty for all transactions of real estate in the corridor, though it is yet to be implemented. These measures ensure that the increase in land value due to improved connectivity and existence of RRTS is partially captured in support of the project viability. You will appreciate that none of the metro systems or the rapid rail systems around the world are able to cover their costs and are not in profit except for Hong Kong Metro. So, being the first RRTS, the efforts have been made to innovate and capture as much land value and other non-fare box revenue as possible.
Sir, let's talk about execution. What were some highlights of construction and what challenges did the project face?
Deepika ji, the construction phase has been remarkable in many ways. And some of the highlights include the use of advanced tunneling technologies in dense urban areas of Meerut, where most of the time after entering Meerut South, it goes beneath the ground. And they have used precast construction methods to accelerate the project construction and compress the timelines. And then they have deployed high-speed rail compatible infrastructure standards to not only make it super safe and durable, but also so that they set the benchmark for the future such projects in India. And the challenges also were very significant. Then we had, as usual in all these projects, the land acquisition in densely populated areas was really a big challenge. But now that our revenue officials and the project officials are quite conversant, it was tackled and there was no significant delay due to the land acquisition. The utility shifting, as usual, created a lot of uh, complexities and at times appeared to delay the project, but certainly it was handled with very meticulous coordination and communications between the officials and no significant delay due to the utility shifting. Whereas the coordination itself between multiple agencies was a huge challenge. There were state government authorities, there were central government authorities, then the NCRTC, and many other agencies which were looking at the project. Then the COVID-19 also came during this time, and there were disruptions due to that. Supply chain was affected. But that despite these, the project has demonstrated strong resilience and adaptive planning, and I am quite okay with the way it has been completed in the timeline it has been completed.
And what about benefits, sir? Both immediate and long term, how transformative is this project expected to be?
Namo Bharat project certainly is transformative and futuristic. In the immediate future, I foresee there has been a significant reduction in the travel time. For example, Delhi to Meerut is being covered in under an hour. That provides extra few hours in the hands of commuters, which can be utilized by them for their economic and social benefits. Then it has led to reduce congestion on roads. Many of us here would vouch for the time, maybe sometimes 4 or 5 hours they have spent traveling from between the two cities, Meerut and Delhi. And certainly there is a improved commuter comfort and reliability. And as I see in the long term, there will be economic integrations of such regions like Meerut with NCR. and they will boost to real estate and urban development along the corridor. And a train, electrically operated train, certainly causes much less emissions and leads to environmental benefits. It is also likely to create new growth centers along the corridor, and there is likely to be redistribution of population density. And essentially, it will reshape how people live, work, and commute in this corridor.
And finally, Dr. Bana, what are the key lessons learned by policymakers and planners from this project?
Of course, Deepika ji, what is a podcast unless we draw out certain lessons from it? So, firstly, what stands out is the integrated planning which led to this project implementation. Because what they planned was that it must align with land use and regional development, which is so essential. And then there was a strong institutional structure. That is, they created a SPV, special purpose vehicle, special purpose company like NCRTC, which had a focused attention to the execution and planning. And the blended financing is effective, as we have seen around the world, and they have combined public funding with multilateral support to reduce risks and ensure availability of funds in quick time. Then early incorporation of land value capture mechanisms has played a critical role, so that as people come to know about the development of such project, as the land values start going up, so these measures, they help bring in revenue right before the project actually gets commissioned. And the technology and standardization have improved the efficiency, scalability, and reliability. The stakeholder coordination, as I've been mentioning, the coordination was one of the major challenge where so many agencies, so many offices were involved. So that coordination through our Gati Shakti and other mechanisms has proved to be very useful, and that emerges as one very critical lesson from the implementation of this project. And most importantly, this RRTS, Namo Bharat RRTS, shows that India can conceptualize and execute globally benchmarked infrastructure projects in time with quality and credibility.
Thank you, Dr. Bana, for such insightful perspectives. The RRTS clearly represents a new chapter in India's infrastructure journey. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more conversations on infrastructure policy and development. Until next time, namaste.
Namaste.